welcome once again to this compensation program. Yeah. So, what are we going to do today in this next 3 hours? What are we going to learn? What is the overview? So, we're going to look at job description, job evaluation, and some of the techniques in job evaluation, which will include ranking, paid comparison, grading, and point rating. Now, before I actually get into this, in fact, if you recall, when we talked about compensation in session 1, we talked about the external factors, and then we said we then set the context in terms of internal equity, external equity, and individual equity based on the equity principles. Anybody remembers equity principles? Adam Smith's equity principles. We talked about 3 equity principles. That means in order for the organization to be very fair, right, competitive, we said there are 3 kinds of equity based on the Adam Smith's principle. Now, what are they? Internal equity, external equity, and individual equity. Okay. Now, today and maybe a little bit of the next session also, we'll be totally covering internal equity. Now, first of all, before we actually get down into the details, we should get an understanding of why are we talking about internal equity. So now, just moving a little before the internal equity, as I said in my last session, that every organization exists because why it wants to have a very satisfied workforce in order to achieve their business goals. Now, if out of 500 people, 400 people are unhappy, dissatisfied, what happens, Ritupan? If 400 people are unhappy and you have 500 people in your workforce, what happens to your productivity? Anybody can respond.
There will lead to an attrition.
There will be first before even attrition, there will be reduction of productivity. No?
Productivity, yes.
So if there is a reduction of productivity.
Sometime, ma'am, maybe go slow method maybe follow.
Pardon?
Go slow.
Go slow, but go slow also, what will it result into?
Affecting the loss of production.
Reduction of production. And therefore, what happens to your profits? It will be reduced.
Less.
Okay. So typically what happens, so there is a kind of what organization also has its own objective. Why should we have the right kind of compensation? Now, when we talk about the right kind of a compensation, it starts with a internal equity. That means, are we paying fairly? Are we paying equally with their what? Input, output. We talked about input, output. For example, if Rituparna, are you very happy in your organization?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You're very happy. Why? Because they are giving you good salary.
Good salary.
They are
yes.
giving you good benefits.
Yes.
You are getting good training, compensation management you are learning. Then you are also getting good incentives. So all these rewards, outcomes, you are happy with them. Why are you happy? Because these rewards are equal to the kind of input you are putting. So input is equal to output. But what if you are putting input and but the reward was less, you would have felt unhappy. Or if the reward was more, you would have felt, oh, I need to do something about it. Now, therefore, when you compare it with others within your organization also, you are happy because yes, relatively, I'm being paid with reference to the other jobs in the organization. I'm happy. Now, unless and until this first thing we establish in organizations, internal equity. We defined last session saying that what is internal equity? Internal equity means ensuring that all the jobs are paid fairly, equitably in relation to the other jobs. Now, how do we establish this? We do something called job evaluation. Now, for all of you who are attending this compensation and benefits, now to know about job evaluation, to know about what it is, why it is, and how it is, it's very, very important. Okay. Now, what is job evaluation? it is one of the techniques. It is a technique or a tool you use to establish worth of the job. Why in your organization CFO is getting X amount of salary, CHRO is getting X amount of salary. There's a difference between the salary of a CFO and a CHRO and a CIO. Why? Because the kind of work they are doing is different. Now, to ensure that we are paying fairly, you have to find out the value or the worth of the job. And how do we find out the worth of the job? By doing job evaluation. So the definition for a job evaluation is what? Systematic process of determining. If you want to write it, you can also write it. It's a systematic process of determining the worth of a job in relation with the other jobs within the organization. The worth of one job in relation to the other jobs in the organization. So I use two words, the worth of one job in relation with the other jobs in the same organization. Okay. Having said that, so the first question which comes into your mind or to my, what is it as a compensation expert, that how do I establish worth of the job? Right? How do I establish worth of the job? Now, how do I do it? By job evaluation. So what is the process of job evaluation? The first step to do a job evaluation is to have a job description in place. What is the first step? You need to have a job description. The first step is to have a job description. If you don't have a job description, you can't do a job evaluation. Why? Because job description gives me an understanding of what are the role, responsibilities of a job. How do you get a job description? Anybody? I want to know. I think was the youngest boy. Let me see.
Ma'am, I have a simple question.
Yeah.
So before we start job evaluation, aren't we supposed to have a job analysis in place?
I'm just coming to that. That's why I said. So how do you do a job description? First, let me just find out how do you all do a job description? How do you document a job description?
By interview method or probably
Yes,
just by observing?
by interview method, logging method, questionnaire method, observation method, all this. Okay. So what we do, we analyze the job. Systematic process of analyzing the job for the purpose of documenting job description. Job analysis is what? The systematic process of analyzing a job through questionnaire, observation, logging method. All these methods we use as a part of the job analysis. And what do? We document a job description. When we do interviewing, when we do questionnaire method, when we do for documenting the job description, finding out, hey, what does the job do? What are the various things, key tasks, key responsibilities, everything. So how do we go about? We will go and ask the boss, we'll go and ask the key stakeholders. That's how we do that. It's called job analysis. Who asked this question? So what is job analysis? Let me see. Whoever asked me this question. Job analysis. Is there a difference between job and evaluation and job analysis?
Yes, so evaluation, as I said, it's just to know the worth of a job.
Okay.
Yeah, and in analysis, we try to analyze the particular job. So, the output of job analysis could be broadly explained in terms of job specification and job description.
Job description, absolutely. So you said it right. Job analysis is actually the analysis of a job to get this job description. But job evaluation is also a very highly systematic process. You will know how we are going to do it. But it starts, job analysis is for job description, but job evaluation is for job to get the job worth or to get the job value. So the outcomes are different. The outcome of analysis, job description, the outcome of a job evaluation, is to get the worth of the job. So that you have to be very clear. So therefore, as a if you all were to do this job description, it will take easily for one role at least 1 week. How? Sending questionnaires, getting data, again sending everything A to Z. It takes a long time. So most of the consultants have a very good idea of doing this. You know how they do? They do it by a method. First of all, they go to a site called Own It. If you just click, go to internet and then do this, Own It online, you will get this site. All of you can see it, Own It online, huh? You will get this site. Clear? Just give me a reaction thumb. Now, you tell me any job you can ask. You want a job description. Huh? So what will you do? Go to this here. Can you see my cursor and keyword? There's a blank. So you just have to go here and press into it. Then what will happen? You will get, let me show you in real terms. Okay. Maybe I'll just take a minute, but you'll feel more. One second. Own It. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let me just share this to you and show you exactly how we do this. All of you can see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I've actually gone to, on the internet, I've gone to this site called Own It Online. All right, you can see this.
Yes.
Now you can type anything. Say, for example, I will type production manager. Shall I?
Yes, ma'am. Production
Anything you can type, production manager. Okay, enter. Now, can you see production manager here? So, industrial production manager, if you want an induction, because there are many kinds. Now, what can you see here? This will give you a summary report of the industrial production manager. Huh? Summary report. Can you see? I'll make it a little bigger now if you can see all that. Where this is a summary giving you the list of tasks. Then this is all the technologies which are being used by him, database, electronic mail software, enterprise. Then this is the kind of knowledge. Can somebody tell me what knowledge is it written here? What kind of a knowledge is required by the production manager? Anybody? Please read. Upadhyaya, can you read?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowledge of materials, production process, quality control, cost, and other technicals.
Okay, great. Now, Anish, can you read what are the skills required?
Yeah, coordination, critical thinking, judgment and decision making, monitoring, good communication.
Yeah, and they have also defined what does it mean, right?
Yeah.
Then have you seen it is also giving you abilities like deductive reasoning, oral comprehension, and all this. Okay. Now this is only a summary. Now I can ask for details. Now, can you see that? Set and monitor product standards, examining samples of raw products and directing tests during processing, direct or coordinate production, review processing schedules, review operations, hire, train, evaluate, develop or implement. So likewise, if you can see, there are tasks, much more technology skills, tools and techniques used, knowledge, skills, everything. So now tell me, since now you have got ready-made this one, what is the advantage? What is the advantage now? What is the advantage of this? Anybody? So the advantage is that now you can actually quickly document a job description by using this form and use it in the Google form, send it to all the stakeholders and also to the role holder, and then write there, please add or delete whatever you think is relevant. Then what will happen? You can customize it to the requirements of the role. And if there is some kind of you require a consensus where some stakeholders are actually not agreeing on certain points, then you can call up, discuss, and then along with the reporting manager, you can actually create a job description with a very less time and effort. Now, let me tell you, on this site, name any job, it is there. So the first and the foremost thing, when you go back, ensure that at least most of the jobs have job descriptions. And now you know that it can be done internally and it can be done very easily, cost-effective way of doing. Ensure that all the jobs have job descriptions so that there is clarity on every role, what he or she has to do. That's the first step when you do job evaluation. Because unless and until you have something, what is the job doing, you don't know how to do job evaluation. Now, once you have the job description, then next, what do? You are going through job evaluation. Now, there is one method which we do in ranking method, which is called a paired comparison method. Can you see this paired comparison method, guys? Paired comparison table, all of you?
Yes.
As you see, ranking means ranking, if you recall your school days or college days, where, after the exam, people would get some ranks based on the kind of marks they've got. So the highest marks guy would get a first rank, then the second, then followed by a third and the fourth. So if it is a first rank, that means he's got the highest mark. Second means next highest. So likewise, ranking means you are ranking them. It could be ascending order, it could be descending order. Okay. Now, say for example, you have 10 jobs here. So messenger, all these 10 jobs, data entry operator, executive secretary, computer operator. So you can see all these jobs, control clerk. Now, when you are doing a ranking method in paired comparison, first of all, what are you going to do? You are going to evaluate every job, each job with the rest of the job. What is it when I'm saying paired comparison? You are going to evaluate each and every job with the rest of the jobs. And then come to a hierarchy saying which is the highest job and which is the lowest job. So to do that, I will first organize my data into stack it up. List of jobs vertically and list of jobs horizontally. You can see this from the slide I'm showing. So once I do that, what is the process of doing it? How will you do ranking? So I will take each and every job here. So let me take a job like, what? Data entry operator. Can you see my cursor here? I have put, if you want, I can make it still.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
A data entry operator. You can see clearly now. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to evaluate. So when I say evaluate, then what am I going to do? Not Anish or not, he's not going to do single-handedly, because if I say data entry operator is the highest job and has to be paid highest, nobody will believe him. Nobody will then say, hey, how did you get that? There will be so many questions. So you will create a compensation committee. So nobody takes these things single-handedly, these decisions. You will have a compensation committee. Who are the members of the compensation committee, which is called CC committee? Sometimes depending on the size, MD, then all the business heads, etc. Why business heads? Because they have a good understanding of the organization. Now, how will you do? So once you have that, then data entry operator. Now the committee is going to evaluate now. They will take the job description as a whole, and then they will compare this job with all the rest of the jobs. Okay, with their job description, with the kind of outcome they are doing, and then how relevant or how important it is to the job which they are comparing. So data entry operator, even just like that, you can say, hey, so with the messenger, is it a higher job or a lower job? Anybody will say it's a higher job, right? Huh? Yes or no?
Yes.
So when it is a higher job, yes, then you will put a cross mark. Okay. Now data entry operator. Huh? Here you are comparing with data processing manager. There is, so the job is lower, so you don't put anything. Data entry operator, you won't comparing with the same job, so you just put a dash.
Right.
Data entry operator comparing with an executive secretary is a lower job. So what is it? How are you comparing? Whenever the job you are comparing with, if the job is higher, you will put a cross mark. If the job is lower, you don't put anything. Okay. Look at data processing manager. Let us see data processing manager. You will see that literally there are cross marks for all. That means this job, when you are evaluating with the rest of the jobs, clearly the committee is saying it is higher. So then what I will do, I will count all the cross marks or the into marks. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I will do the totaling of this mark. There are 9. Whereas for data entry operator, how many cross into signs are there? 2. So likewise, I am going to do for all the jobs, okay? And then I will total them. So when I total them, I will get a hierarchy. Hierarchy is nothing but ranking, either in descending order or ascending order. So here it is what? It is in the descending order. So 9 is the highest job. Which is the lowest job here?
File clerk. File clerk is 1.
File clerk
Taking
assistant.
the messenger out, you will
0.
rightly stated, because it is 1, it is the file clerk, which is the lowest job.
Lowest.
Then, as you know, after 1, you have 2. So, next job is
Data
Data
entry.
entry.
Then the next job is
Control clerk.
Control clerk.
control clerk. And then the next job is
Computer operator.
computer operator. So you have a hierarchy of jobs. So what do you know that if a job is lower, you have to pay him lower salary. If a job is higher, you have to pay him higher salary. So you know data processing manager has to be paid the highest. One file clerk has to be paid the lowest. But how much we have not decided on the, what is it called? Structure, right? How will you now design the pay structure? Because ultimately, how much to pay? You know that this job is higher and this job is lower. Now, how much to pay? What will you do? Any idea? Just tell me. Any idea? Some of you are already there.
Maybe you can consider a couple of criteria. So qualification could be one of them.
Louder,
Number
guys,
of years.
little louder.
So maybe we can consider multiple criteria. So qualification is one of them. Number of years of work experience, stakeholder management, cross-functional activities, decision-making
Okay.
ability.
No, my
maybe
question
strategic.
was, now you know which job is higher and which jobs are lower. But
We
how
can check
to...
for market standards.
Right. Very good. Okay. Yeah. So we will start looking at market data. Now let me give you a very simple method of now fixing salary, because that is what you all are here for. Compensation manager fixes salary and equitable salary. Now how do you do that? Huh? First of all, you need to, step one is hierarchy, doing a job evaluation and getting the hierarchy. Step 2, you are going to what we call it as cluster them. What are we doing? Cluster them. Cluster is what? Trying to identify jobs which are similar. Jobs which are
Similar
similar.
in nature.
For example, if I say file clerk, then data entry operator, then control clerk, and computer operator. They're typically jobs of similar nature, which do not have so much of supervisory responsibilities, excepting that maybe in the same grouping. In that group, the ranking computer operator could be high and file clerk is low. But otherwise, they are of a similar nature, so you will group them into one group. Is this point very clear? So what
Yes,
am I
ma'am.
doing?
Yeah.
Grouping. Now, after grouping, I'm going to do what? How will I fix salary? Now just see, how will I fix salary? So what am I doing now? One is, first I did cluster. Cluster. So I've grouped them. Okay. What jobs did I group? I said one is the file clerk. Okay. Then
Computer operator.
the other is, I'll go by the ranking given. Okay. Operator. Then I will give control clerk. Okay. Then next is
Computer operator.
computer operator, right? Huh? Operator. File clerk ranking was 1. This was 2. This was 3. And this was
4.
So here we are clear how we arrived at this ranking by doing paid comparison. Now I want to fix salary. I know that this guy has to be paid high. This guy has to be paid the lowest. So somebody said rightly, get the market data. So market data of what? Typically a market data will fix up on the lines of this organization. For example, when I'm doing pairing for that 10 jobs, it is a typical, ITES organization. Okay. So I'm going to look at market data of a similar organization. Got it? Of a similar organization. And when I looked at market data, so this is, I'm going to look at market data. I'm looking at a similar organization's market data. So where I found that for the similar jobs, okay, the min was say about 15,000. Right. Okay. And the max was 20. Okay. How did I get this data? I got it from the market, from similar organization with these jobs, and I saw that the minimum was 15,000 and the maximum was 20,000. Now, what will I do? I'll say, if the minimum is 15,000, what would be the midpoint? Anybody? What can be the midpoint?
17,500.
How much? 20,000.
17,500.
17.
Yeah. Sorry. So midpoint is 17,500. Why do I want midpoint? Because typically what happens when I am actually fixing salary, I don't want to give more than the midpoint normally. Okay, when I'm fixing the salary. So file clerk is the lowest. So what will I do? Okay, fine. I'm going to fix him at what range? 15.
15.
No?
Yeah.
Data entry operator is 2. So I'll say, okay, I might give him a little about, say, 18. No? Then control clerk, I will say about 20. And computer operator. Huh? For me, control clerk and computer operator. So I will say, okay, 18,000 and I will fix him here at about. Okay. So my highest job, computer operator, gets 20,000, control clerk gets 19,000, and data entry operator gets 18,000, and a file clerk gets 15,000. But for example, I'm a training organization. For example, I'm a training organization. I have in training organization, I'll have what? Instructional designers. Please understand this concept very well. I will also have sales guys. Okay. I'm putting both these roles into one level only. Say example, I'll just give that same. I found out data and this is the same data. Right? 15,000. 15,000. And this will be 20,000. Okay. Now, how will I pay them and how much will I pay them will depend on which job is very, very important for me, critical for me. In a training organization, instructional designer is very, very critical for me. So on the basis of importance and priority, I will put him at a higher salary. Okay. Because I want the best of the instructional designers, because the quality of my the training material depends on the quality of my instructional designers. Okay. So therefore I will pay them higher salary to get them. Sales people, okay, I don't mind getting just average people because I can train them. So I will then put them at a lesser salary. This is like when you are looking at, please understand this concept very clearly. There are two organizations. One is just a manufacturing organization employing chartered accountants in the finance department. The other is Deloitte or a what is it? PwC, which is actuarial. They do all this work and they actually recruit a lot of chartered accountants. Now, which organization pays higher salary to chartered accountants? Anybody who can just give me a little clue?
Deloitte or PwC?
Both of these organizations will pay more salaries, right? Why?
More than manufacturing.
Why?
Because they are doing quite value addition job over there as compared to manufacturing.
Anish, you are absolutely right. Because the requirement of that role, is to generate higher value addition. The kind of work they do is of a higher level as in compared to a chartered accountant who does in a manufacturing organization. So obviously you want the best of chartered accountants to do that work because you'll be dealing with clients. So what they do, they recruit best chartered accountants and they don't mind paying very high salaries, top end salaries. Now, if I bring a guy who is really very good and pay him top end salary, but what work am I making him do in manufacturing organization? Limited, no? The scope of the job is limited. I mean, there is, even if he's very top end chartered accountant from the best, but the scope for him to do the job is not there because his job is a typical whatever one does in the finance department. So do I need one? I don't need one, no, of a high caliber. So I will pay less salaries. So therefore, I will also recruit people who are willing to work and average chartered accountants who will come for that salary. Are you finding, are you trying to, at least, are you able to connect, guys? That's very important. Huh? So you may say, why is HR getting less? Why is finance getting less? Because the scope of the job, the role does not require so much. The worth of the job is not so much for me to pay. So I will actually pitch them at a lower salaries. Okay. So this is how you actually then fix salaries in ranking, job ranking. Okay. Now let us just go to a very other interesting method, which is found so universally. This is called job ranking. Don't undermine job ranking. You can still do job ranking in startups, etc. The limitation is that if the jobs are more than 15 or 20, it becomes very difficult. So this method is only used by startups or small organizations who can actually call in internally, have an intern and do the work, which is very cost effective. Now let us come to another interesting method which is done by most of the organizations. I don't know how many of you are very familiar, and I'm sure you are familiar. This is called grading, job grading. It is another job evaluation technique. Very common, mostly in manufacturing organization. When we do job grading, supposing an organization has 50 jobs, 60 jobs, essentially what does it do? It classifies or it buckets all those jobs into those determined grades. If you have determined 5 grades, it will then do job evaluation, put all those jobs into those grades. Got it? That's a fundamental thing. Now, how do you do that? Putting all those jobs into those 5 grades, that is important. Okay. Now, how do you go about doing that is, there is a process. First of all, you are identifying, somebody said already, we are identifying something called compensable factors. Are you familiar with this compensable factors, guys? Anybody who understands compensable factors? Are you familiar? Anybody? The word itself is very simple, no? Compensable.
Basically, the job specific, the qualification, the
for which you want
experience.
to pay, right? Factors for which you want to pay. Think of your organization. How do you pay? When you think of experience, a person with lesser experience gets lesser salary. A person with more experience gets more salary, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So can experience become one compensable factor?
Yeah, the experience in that too, even from a relevant or similar industry is much more
So I'm not getting into relevant, but by and large, if I'm taking relevant experience, that becomes an important compensable factor.
Yeah.
Like as an employee gets senior and senior with more number of years of experience. So you'll say, hey, he's got 10 years, 15 years, so he has to get more salary. So experience becomes one generic compensable factor. Education. At a lower level, you can have just one graduation, ITI, etc. But as you keep growing up, you will have post-graduation, sometimes if need be in a pharma, PhD, or then like a quality guy, he can be at a middle manager or at a high level quality with a lot of certifications, a Sigma certification, a production guy will have a TPM certification, a Kaizen. So as you keep growing up, education also can become one compensable factor.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Can span of control be a compensable factor? When you are doing at an entry level, you are only managing yourself, individual role, individual contributor. As you keep growing up, then you will have what? One person looking after 2 or 3 people. So your span of control increases as you keep rising up the job. Agree?
Yeah.
Span of control. Okay. What could be some other compensable factors? Are you getting responsibility can also be a compensable factor? Your responsibility towards machinery, material, right? Money, budgeting, etc. So that also can be a compensable factor, right? Because as you keep increasing your budget, like you are responsible for just maybe 20 lakhs, after that 50 lakhs, after that. So as you keep increasing your position, so these are some of the compensable factors. And I will also just list out all the compensable factors for you. So when you're doing a grading, first of all, you are trying to create a template to put those 500 jobs into these grades. So then you will determine how many grades I want or how many bands I want. Now you can have 5 bands or you can have 10 grades or 15 grades. Now can you have like 25 grades or 30 grades? Yes or no? Can you have?
It's very difficult.
Is it feasible?
Difficult
Will
to
not
manage.
be wise to make such a longer grade.
Is it feasible to have 25, 30
No, ma'am.
grades?
No, ma'am.
So your basis of creating grades also are on 2 bases. One is broad principle. What is the broad principle? I will just go to this. Okay. One is a broad principle of saying whether you want to do a narrow banding or have you heard of narrow banding and broad banding? Some of you must have heard.
No.
So there are 2 things to look at when you are saying how many grades you want. So we call it as NARROW, narrow banding. Okay. What is narrow banding? You can have bands to the tune of 10 to 15 bands. So to look at how will those bands be, they can be like this. See? So what does it mean? As you grow high. So what does it mean? That means you will have many bands, many levels with initially at a low level, you will have min and max very, very small. That means the difference between min and max is narrow. What is the meaning of narrow? Like for example, all of you are working in mostly what manufacturing organizations. Take for example, a public sector organization. Take for example, a oil and gas organization where you will have 10, 15 bands or 20 bands also sometimes, depending on, okay, the min and max is very narrow. When I say narrow, what does it mean?
Small.
The difference between, say if I have something like, 10,000 and this will be by min, okay, min, and okay, 20,000. This will be by max. Okay. Now, every year, this person gets an increment, an average performer, 2,000 rupees. Okay. Now, tell me in how many years he will reach 20,000?
10.
Then, every year, so I'll put here, every year, 1 second. Okay. Got it? Now this is 10,000. This is 10,000. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And this is 20,000. An average performer gets an increment of AVG increment of how much? Equal to 2,000. Okay. So if I want to give an average performer, top performer can get more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many years he has to spend here to reach?
5 years. 5 years. 5 years.
5 years.
5 years. Say for example, he is at an entry level and every year he is getting 2,000 rupees. That means 5 years. So this is like a what? It's a long term, right? 5 years. So if you notice, mostly at an entry level, people are getting shifted from one level lower to the higher level in a matter of maximum, if not 1 year, 2 years or 3 years. So therefore, what should it be? This width between min and max should be smaller, right? Is that clear, guys? Are you getting understanding now? So when I say narrow band, instead of 10,000 to 20,000, which is min and max, maybe it will be just, what will it be? Maybe 10,000 to
50.
15.
this is the min. What can it be? If I'm only making, say, 2 years or just 3 years, what can it be with 2,000 increment? So what should be my min and what should be my max?
15,000 man.
15,000 or 16,000?
Here it
Years
will
on
be
average,
16,000.
16,000.
Okay. Right? So this will be my max.
Max.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking about a narrow band, the width, that means the difference between min and max will be very, very narrow. And when I'm talking about broadband, what is broadband? Broadband means it will be like this, very broad. It can be, the difference can be 100%, 150%, etc. So most of the organization will have a narrow band or a broad band depending on their structure of the organization, nature of the organization. So how many grades or bands do you all have in your organization?
I have 17.
So Naveen,
It
how
starts
many?
from 17.
Huh?
It starts from 17. It goes all the way to 1.
No, how many grades you all have?
We have 7 grades in our company.
You have 7 grades. Anybody
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, we do have 7.
Manish, how many do
Yeah.
you all have?
Yeah, we do have 7.
You have 7 grades. But do you all have again in those 7 grades subgrades also?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Subgrades also. Okay. So typically what happens, organizations are also getting into what I call it as broad grades, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at a grade 1 and a grade 2, you may not have subgrades. But as you keep going up, then you will have subgrades. It could be 2 grades, it could be 3 grades. Why do you think broad band is very common now in most of the organizations, because what happens is you don't have to shift a person all the time, from one grade to the other to show him that he's promoted or keep him motivated. Now, a lot of administration work comes into play. So therefore, what happens if you have a broad band, you can keep increasing the salary, but not necessarily shift him from one grade or one band to the other if he has not really changed. You will see that a person in manufacturing organization continuing to do the same responsibility, but he's increasing his grades. He's going higher and higher up, but no change in responsibilities. So to avoid that, most of the organizations are saying, hey, let us actually have a broadband and have people into that broadband only when there is a change significantly of competencies, etc., change in the nature of the job, then let us shift him into a higher job. If they are doing similar job, let them be in a same band, but with a broad band. If you want to give higher salary to one role, you can give higher salary. If you have to give lower salary to another one, but remain in the same grade. So now we are also going to give you an exercise. So for the purpose of this exercise, you have to create only 4 grades or 4 bands. And you have to only do 4 compensable factors. It will be a very interesting exercise. Then what you have to do? You have to do descriptors. That means you have to actually write the descriptors for these grades. I will actually show you a case and then you can write. Then you have to do the job evaluation for those. Then take a look at this. Huh?
Done.
1 second. Go. Okay. Can you see this? Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is it? I'm just showing another case study of job grading. What have I done? Step 1, identifying compensable factors. What are they? Qualification, experience, okay, creativity, complexity, etc. Then what have I done? I've taken number of grades. Grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, for every grade, I have written descriptor. Means, how will I define a description for my qualification, description for my experience, description for my creativity, etc. Now, what have I done? I've taken the job descriptions, evaluated, and seen where is this job fitting, which grade is it fitting, and I've mapped or classified what I call it as and put there. Okay. For example, I have put, this is for another case. So I put, say, for example, an engineer. So he falls into where? Grade 2. Say, for example, a program manager, he's falling into grade 6. But how did I map them? Evaluating them, taking the job description, looking at all the descriptors I've written, and then map them into various grades. So I'm just stopping the sharing. Now I want you to share that, okay, your thing, Rahul, and then I will show you what you need to do.
Sure.
Okay, make it little bigger. Yeah. So what have you written? Compensable factors, not skill sets. Why you wrote skill sets?
So we're trying to, compensate on the skills.
No. Step 1 for job grading is compensable factors. So they are compensable factors. Okay. Now, qualification. So now we'll have to shift to those qualification. This is experience,
Yeah, this is the qualification.
Yeah. So experience you have written here, but 0 to, again, there is something written up also. Which one to take?
So experience we have considered as for 0 to 3 years, we can consider as fresher.
No. So write experience, write 0 to 3 years, write 3 to 5, and write 5 to 6. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. I wanted you to do 4 grades, Ma. because grade 4, 3 grades will become too tight. So just fill in this first, huh? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you haven't finished. No?
I feel that grade 4 and grade 3 will be more similar into the roles and the responsibilities part.
No. When you are making grades, you are looking at your number of jobs you have and looking at your organization, the complexity, etc. And you are making grades. Now that you are trying to learn this as a case study, okay? So have 4 grades, okay?
Okay.
And have something, reduce something in grade 3 descriptor. Like for example, I'll tell you what. In qualification. PG, MBA, PhD, span of control more than 5. So 5. So span of control also it will be bigger, no? Maybe from 5 to 10, 15 or something like that.
So for grade 5 it's more than 7 years.
Yeah. Okay.
That's kept.
Now do span of control.
We can mention it as around
15 to 20 also you'll have, no?
yeah. So say 10 to 20 or more than
Okay.
10 we can specific.
Yeah.
More than 10 will be great.
Right.
So if grade 3 say I can remove this this part
And put it there.
and put it over there.
Right.
So it will be more effective. And if management skills needs to define, because then grade 3 will not be higher.
Okay.
Because it will be over here in grade 4.
So I would recommend you to remove your management skills because we have 4 already enough. Okay. Now you have these jobs, various positions, right? Huh?
Yeah.
What you do quickly, all 4 of you, either you divide your work, okay, and look at the job description. Don't go with the title, and quickly then write under grade 1 which job will go, under grade 2 which job will go, under grade 3 which jobs will go, under grade 4 which jobs will go. And what will be the basis or the criteria? The basis or the criteria for this will be going through the job description and analyzing vis-a-vis qualification. How do you need to analyze? Vis-a-vis this qualification, experience, span of control, responsibilities, and see where do they fit in? Where do they fit in? Do they fit in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, or grade 4?
Do you want us to refer the job descriptions which was shared in the
So
morning?
Rahul, how will you do without referring the job description?
Yes.
Huh? Job evaluation, I told you the first step is looking at job description, no?
Yeah.
Got it?
Correct.
Okay. So I will leave you with this for some time so that I know that you will then work on it. Okay?
We can consider any one of the JDs, right? Any one department JDs, correct?
How many in one department? No, I want you to do, don't do one. Look at 10 jobs. Okay?
Okay.
Look around 10 jobs quickly and get them. But get a good mix. Don't look at just one department. Because what happens then, you are then inclined to look at only one department. Look at 2-3 departments, good mix of it, and look at 10 jobs and do them. Okay?
Okay.
JD we got it. So we initially made the function wise.
You are doing job grading. Okay.
Yeah.
Job grading is another technique of job evaluation, and which is very, very common and universally done. Okay, right. Step 1. What have you done? Step 1.
Step 1, we have gone through the JD.
Identification of compensable
Compensation.
factors.
Yeah, compensation.
Yeah. So what are they?
Yeah, these
So
are
we are, go ahead. So we identified 4 compensable factors, right, from education, experience, skill, and responsibility.
Great. Step 1. Step 2, you determined number of
Grades.
grades. How many grades are there?
4 grades.
Grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. Grade 1 being the lowest, grade 4 being the highest.
Right.
Got it? Step 3, you have written descriptors for the compensable factors for every grade, right?
Correct.
These are called descriptors. Step 3 is descriptors. Education at grade 1, education at grade 2, education at grade 3, education at grade 4. What are these? Descriptors. Because if I just write education and grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, and I don't write any description, how will I know at a grade 1 what is the education required? Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So
Now,
here, Nirmala, what we wrote over here is grade 1, we wrote basic graduation.
can you be a little louder, Anish? Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, what we did is a descriptor, basic graduation in grade 1, grade 2 post graduation, grade 3 the most highest graduation, and grade 4 maybe same. This kind of things we have written. Is it okay then?
No. So I want to make one comment here. So sometimes what happens, it doesn't mean that in terms of education that as you keep growing higher, that the education keeps increasing. So what happens, you are at a grade 3, doctorate, PhD, and doctorate, PhD, and no, not necessarily. Like say, at grade 3, you may just have certifications. At grade 4, you may have leadership certifications. Are you getting me? It is not necessary that a formal education, like in reality, like I'm seeing now, that's a correction I want to make, that you keep increasing it as doctorate, PhD, MPhil. Are you getting that?
Yeah.
Are you getting that? Say, for example, a quality person, I might have at a grade 3, I will say, hey, quality guy has to get a quality certification, right? Why? Just hear this out very, very clearly. I hope all the participants are there. Okay.
Yeah.
And, Anish has asked a very relevant question. So for a learner like us, where we are just writing of compensable factors, it is very, 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 the way we will understand is, okay, fine, with a higher grade, the education also has to increase. Think of it like this. At a middle level manager who normally becomes a functional leader or a functional head or BU head at grade 3 or because here only we have grade 4, say grade 3, he will need all kinds of things to perform that business or that function very well, right? So he will need not formal educations, he will also need a lot of certifications, competencies. Got it?
Yeah, understood.
But when you shift from functional or a BU head to becoming a little regional heads or a top management, will you just go by PhDs and MPhils?
No.
What will you go? You will send them where? Leadership. No?
Yeah.
You will say, hey, I need this guy to be what? Executive development management certifications, leadership certifications. Why? Because he has to manage a bigger lot. And if he's not an MBA also, we will insist on some MBA. Got it?
Right.
So what am I saying? We are aligning education with the role. The role is what? His responsibilities. The responsibilities differ basing on the role. No? At a lower level, you are only looking at small unit or maybe something. But as you keep growing higher, your responsibility is increasing because your horizon, your supervision, your leadership is just not limited to you only, but also to the entire organization, baby. Got it? Very clear now?
Yeah. So can we say like, yeah, understood. Very good. Thank you very much. Can we say that till the time you are working as a functional manager,
Hmm.
educations and rest of the things to perform as a functional things are more important.
Hmm.
The moment you are moving one level above from functional manager, maybe no center role
Hmm.
or the at leadership role, where you are not only leading to the function, but similarly you are dealing with the people and different kind of functions and stakeholders. So certification is more relevant over there.
Simply, Anish, for everybody, I'm just taking Anish name, but for everybody, you have to understand that when you are doing job evaluation, that's why very important to write first of all, your compensable factors and descriptors. B, your job description has to be such that whatever you have written as compensable factors, the role and responsibilities in the job description should clearly be written. If those things are not written, how will you do evaluation? And that is why there is a lot of rigor and discipline in creating that template job description document, which will capture everything which is required by the job grading template. Got it?
Yeah.
Huh? Because the intensity, what is it required, what is this person has to do. If I don't write all that responsibilities, then it will not, we will not be able to evaluate them. So there should be a common template at a lower level, middle level, higher level, where we are actually capturing all the data. Got it, guys? So job description is very, very important. For example, when I'm doing a job analysis and trying to create a job description and writing, and if and I'm wanting to do performance management, if I don't write KRAs, KPIs, etc., how will I do performance management, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So grade 4, what we should write here in grade 4? Just we have to understand more.
Yeah, education, grade 4. Typically, you should be writing, say, for example, this organization is a lean organization. Grade 4 people are typically the top management people, if they are. So, and if it is an organization where it is like a manufacturing organization, then I will be writing what leadership certifications. I will not write doctorate, PhD. I don't require that. An engineer will be there already. An MBA maybe. I will ensure that all my top management people should have MBA. Okay. But you will say one case in point. So maybe a guy, a production manager who has come up right up to grade 4, but his basic education is only what ITI, or maybe just an engineer. Then you will say, but he has come to grade 4, but he has only an engineer. But when I will write the job grading and I've written an MBA, I will ensure that even before he comes there, I will ensure that even at grade 3 or grade 4, if I've written a kind of a career planning where I will align, I will ensure that if he's a top performer, that he should also do an MBA. I will support his MBA qualification and ensure that. Got it?
Agree.
I will send, if I have written grade 4 leadership, I will send him for leadership certifications.
Right.
Okay. It doesn't mean that he gets disqualified because of he's not having it.
Agree. Understood.
Okay. But whereas example like a doctorate or PhD, I will write even at a grade 2, if I'm doing an R&D department for pharma, I may have a doctorate there, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Yeah. Now you can tell me.
Madam, one thing I want to ask. That is, you have said that the leadership certification.
Is this who is Joydeep?
Joydeep. Yeah.
Joydeep, tell me, Joydeep.
Madam, you have said that leadership certifications for grade 4. So, how it is possible to get certifications on leadership? Is there any course or whatever?
No, Jaideep, when I write there, the top management will be sent. In fact, if you notice in today's times, what happens when you are promoting, and because you can't perform otherwise. So what happens, the organization takes that ownership to ensure that they are sent and they are, sent for leadership programs. 3 months of, sending them to IMs or 3 months of strategic management course. Have you seen that?
Okay.
Yes,
I understand.
Or if you want, sometimes people, nobody gives a chair today, no? So you have to take the chair. So maybe you are a person who is very proactive and you will start taking, hey, for grade 4, I have to do this. So you are preparing yourself already.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay. Thank
You are taking that initiative of doing it already. Okay. So if you can read out the positions in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. Yeah. What is this, guys? You have
for the
what
in
is
the,
E?
in the HR,
E is
for
also
the
one
HR,
grade. E is also one grade. Achha, you have written departments, HRIT. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So as I can see, you have written very well. Factor HR Executive Analyst Project Engineer. Good. Manager IT Data. Good. Senior Manager, Head IT, DGM. I think you've done a wonderful job. Though you have just started learning, but I think at least, you know, there've been a quick gain of knowledge and you've done a good job. So a round of applause for all of you guys. Okay, great. All right,
Thank you.
good work. Let us quickly come to the second, quickly. Yep.
can we see the other team's project also?
So I just want to see, yeah, the other group.
Yes, ma'am.
Can everyone see our screen?
Yeah.
Compensable factors, qualification, experience, span of control, responsibilities, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. Where are your jobs? Acha, you have written the jobs.
We have jobs.
yeah.
We have written the jobs over here.
Okay, okay. Normally one doesn't look at that like that.
Yes,
okay?
correct.
Good. If you want to make your presence known, do the vice versa, not the what everybody does. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, guys. Good job done. All right. Okay. Very good. So now you have done what? Mapped your jobs into these grades. But now what is left? Quickly tell me. What is left?
Compensation.
You have to fix salary. That is the most important thing for you, no? Okay. So what I will be using, this was what is it? Group 2 or?
Group 2.
Anish's
Group
group
2.
is what? Anish's group is group 1?
One.
Okay.
Yeah, group
So
1.
what we will do is right now 4:24. Please, we'll just take a small break of 10 minutes. And when you come, I want you to, Anish's group can put up their Excel sheet. Okay. I will make someone do so that when you all do the work, how to fix salaries, because we'll be using some Excel analysis. All right. So take a small break, 10 minutes, just a bio break, and come back quickly. And we will try to fix up salaries. And also we'll have to learn point plan, which is very, very interesting. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. 25. So please take 10 minutes and come back by 35. All right. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mapping jobs,
this meeting is being recorded.
Jobs into their grades. We have step 1, identifying compensable factors. Step 2, determining the grades. Step 3, writing the descriptors. Step 4, evaluating the job and mapping them into their respective grades. This is clear with all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now next is what I need to do is how do I then fix salaries? So what we will do is we will take just 10 positions. All right. So if you can copy the positions with their grades into a next sheet with E and F column. Okay. So you can write the positions as you make another into the next sheet, sheet 2. Yeah, good. Sheet 2.
So in this, you want only the grades,
So
ma'am?
what I want to do is you have given me grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, right? So what you write is just take any 10 positions and write them all in a row, okay, in a column. Any 10 positions, a mixed 10 positions, so that it will be good. Because here there are more positions, right? So you can just take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 or 3 of grade 2, 3 of grade 2. So make a combination of grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and grade 4. And identify 10 positions. Yeah, good. Who is doing this job? Good job. Yeah, good job. Why I'm making you do is so that, then you all will be able to really do it when you have to go back and do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add some 5 also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 8, 9, 10. 10 positions done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Are there 10?
9. Okay, one more.
One more. You can do one more. Okay. Great. Okay. Now write positions is as one column, which is D, and F will be the grades. The corresponding grade you can give. Don't write grade now. So factory HR executive, in which grade is he? So write the grades of these positions. Just write their grade. No. In the column E, next to positions.
No, factory executive is grade 1. No, you write here grade 1 in E column.
So don't write grade 1. You can just write 1.
Yeah, that's it. Put factory executive 1. Grade
Yes,
2,
absolutely. Manager,
2,
which grade?
manager 2. Administrator also 2. Okay, ठीक है. Yeah. Quality head grade 3.
Quality head was 4.
Grade 3, na?
Yeah.
3 or 4. SDL 4.
Because here we have put quality head.
Quality, yeah, 4 then. SDL also 4.
3.
Manager 2.
2.
Project manager grade 3. And general manager grade 4.
Project engineer is grade 1. Project engineer is grade 1.
No, there is 2 managers.
Grade 1. Chalo, ठीक है.
Okay, great.
Hello.
Now we are having all senior payroll guys, etc. Considering that this organization, you can see factory HR is a manufacturing organization, and you can think of either Calcutta location or whatever. Please put the salary per month for all these positions. This is the benchmark data. What you need to do, put the salaries per month. So I want to explain here, when we are doing now fixing of salaries, first we have done step 1 is job evaluation. Step 2 is now we are bringing market data. Okay. Yeah.
25
so the
to
group has to
30,000.
participate. This is a group task which I am helping you to do.
Grade 1 it is.
Yeah, grade 1. 25. 20.
The entire group can help. Not necessarily that because it is great. Group 1 work. No, all the groups can take part in this and give your suggestions and put. No. Put only one salary point. Don't put a range.
Okay, 25. Chalo, 25.
That means in market, when you look at data, you will get a median data, average data. So we are taking average data.
Yeah, manager 35.
Here plus minus 10% here, there it's okay. But we are learning the technique. So we will just put that.
45.
So there are 2 managers. You have written 2 managers. 2 managerial position. After SDL, there is also 1 manager.
ठीक है, दोनों का सेम हो जाएगा ना? दोनों का सेम. Yeah. मैनेजर वाला तो सेम हो जाएगा. एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर में भी दोनों ग्रेड सेम है, तो पुट हिम द सेम सैलरी.
So grade 2, I put maximum.
No. I will tell you here. So, but in the same grade, somebody can get less salary, somebody can get more salary. So therefore, you don't have to put just 45,000 for learning purpose. You at least increase it a little, because in the same grade, somebody can get a minimum, somebody can be at midpoint, somebody can be at a maximum. So you can generally give a little more also.
Sir, just a small question.
Yes.
Yeah. How do we collect the market data?
We were coming, see, after, here we are just learning, but when we are going to do external equity, because I don't want to then get into external equity and LPO, okay? That will be a separate topic session. In detail, we will cover.
SDL को दे दो आप 75,000 और फिर वो 3 में आप दे दो 53 में दे दो प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर 50 और ये जनरल मैनेजर को भी 55 दे दो लेट्स सी डेटा सेंटर है इसका छोटा
Okay.
इतने सैलरी में कोई आएगा नहीं बट
Finished guys?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me just look at the data a little. Okay, good job, guys. Okay, so can you mute it? Very important. So you will have to have real, no distractions. Okay, so now great job. So now you have what jobs assigned to grades, and you also have market data. Okay, now what are we trying to do? Trying to fix salaries. So typically, how do we fix salaries? We can't fix them in the air. We need to have some comparable data. So we got market data. Now we will do a small analysis. What we will do, we will actually do a scatter graph. What does that mean? You will have to select the grade and the market data. So select E and F. Not the grade and salary, but only the
numbers.
Right. Great. Select both the data. Okay. Now go to insert. Now you will have charts here. Go to the next one, below one. Below one. Next.
Okay.
That one. Click on that. Okay. Now the first one, scatter. Click on that. Now push your chart to little that side. Right side. Okay. Now you can see what? Blue dots. These are all your jobs, right? Corresponding with the market data. Now what you do, click on any blue dot. Now do a right click. Then add trend line. Can you see add trend line as you scroll down? Click on that. Then you will get exponential linear. So linear is already come. Linear. We want linear.
Okay.
Linear line. So you already got a linear line. Okay, now you can close that. All right. So what is it showing you? This is your pay line. This line which you have got is your pay line. Okay. Now you have to scroll down. So what we are going to do now? We are going to fix min and max for grades. Yeah, keep that. So right here under that position, save your space also. So grade 1 under grade 1. What will be your min and max? So what will be your min and max? The min and max will be in grade 1 here. You have only one position. So therefore, the mid is 25, right? You can see that it's about 25. So maybe today is only one job, two job. Maybe after that you will have many jobs. So depending on your average number of years, typically in a grade 1 when you think about it. So maybe you can have plus 10 and minus 10. Okay, or plus 15 and minus 15. So that means what? For 20,000, if you add 20%, that will become your maximum. Minus 20%, that will become your minimum. So put there. You know how to do?
What is the logic of 20%?
20% of 20,000 is how much?
22,000.
So write that as your maximum. Maximum. No, is that, no, sorry.
No.
20% is
That will be your
24,000.
minimum. My dear, sorry, that will be your minimum. Okay?
Can
That will
you
be your minimum.
24,000 is it?
20, no. 20% of your 25,000, is it? Yeah. 25,000, no? Right. 20% of your 25,000 is how much?
30,000.
No. 20% of your 30,000.
27,500.
25,000 is how much?
27,500.
So that amount you have to add when you have to do maximum. That amount you have to minus when you have to do minimum. Did you understand?
So minus 20% of 25,000 is minimum.
Yes, and plus 20% of 25,000. Got it?
How much is this? 25,000 of
Minus
Calculate.
minus
I don't
25.
want to do the calculation.
5,000.
So that
Minus
you guys
plus
are
minus.
doing the case.
Ajay, do
5,000 plus minus.
Ajay, Naveen, do one thing. Next, just add the logic, na equal to. Take the cell into minus 25,000.
I will tell you 1 second. All payroll guys are calculators. The marks.
Like this, sir. Wrong. Maximum should be here, minimum should be here.
Correct. It should be the other way around.
Other way.
Put it as 25,000 into 25,000 minus 25%, you'll get the minimum amount, and do it plus over there in maximum, you'll get the maximum amount.
Correct.
Put the
What is the
single
bond?
logic.
What
Is
is
equal
the
to
formula?
is equal to 25,000
20% of 25,000 is 5,000. So what you have to do?
into
No, remove that. Why are you putting into all that simple calculation? Why should you use a calculator? 5,000 is the amount. So your minimum will become 20,000 and your maximum will become 30,000. Correct?
Correct. He is deploying the logic. He is doing the logical calculation, nothing else.
What
So
is-
every time it will be find out that way.
Ma'am, what is the basis of this 20%? Why it can't be 15%?
Now I'm telling you the
30%?
basis of it. At a low level, you are considering what? You are considering that if a person is going to be there, depending on, you have to look internally now, that how many years is he actually staying in grade 1 on an average. Got it?
Correct.
On an average, how many years is he staying in that? Then what is typically increment on an average for year? Okay, based on that, typically you calculate and then create, you will physically do that, create a min and a max.
Okay.
Are you clear with this?
Yeah, I'm clear with this logic, but then this logic will
20 has
differ
come from
basis.
where?
This logic will differ basis the org structure, right? So for an example, in case of flat structure, if somebody, the same example will take, like factory HR executive, if he has to move into a managerial position, in case of flat structure, it may take 4 to 5 years. So with this, if I consider 7% of average
yes,
annual
now we are
increment,
coming to that. We will create another what is it, scenario. Now come to grade 2. Now, how many positions are there in grade 2, according to you?
3
positions.
2 positions. 3 positions.
3 positions.
What is your position at the lowest level?
40,000.
Around
Administrator.
40,000. So put that there now. I will tell you. So put that 40,000 there as a minimum. Okay. Now, what is that at a higher level? 50,000. Now, put that there as 50,000. Okay. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now get that into order. Okay. Now you are saying, hey, in grade 2, the stay period is longer.
Somebody is not on mute actually.
Stay period is, somebody can mute it. The stay, 2 points here to be taken into care. One is tenure. Stay period on an average is longer. Say, for example, we are looking at 5 years. Okay, very clear? 5 years. On an average, the increment, for example, you are giving 2,000 rupees. Okay, on an average. So 2,000 multiplied by 5 years is 10,000. So the difference between 40,000 and 50,000 here is 10,000. But what if you are saying the increment is 3,000 rupees? Okay. And the stay period is typically 5 years. But according to the market data, I have not got that. So 5 threes are 15. So what I will do, I will then physically extrapolate my 50,000 to another 5,000 rupees and
5,000.
extend it. The maximum will become 55 to make accommodation for the number of years on an average a person will stay. Got it? Yes or no? I want to know whether everybody understood that.
I didn't got it, ma'am. Just can.
No, you have to
I
explain
will
again.
again repeat it.
Yes.
According to the market data, you have 40,000 min and 50,000 max. Got it?
Yes.
Huh? Okay. Now, on an average, you have to look internally, saying that how many years will typically a person, an average performer, stay. Top performer will stay only for 3 years, but average performer will stay for 5 years. Okay. On an average, increment given every year is 3,000 rupees. So what is the total increment for 5 years? 5 threes are
15,000.
Now here, considering the fact that 40,000 and 50,000, what is the difference?
5,000.
10,000. So I have to extend this 50,000 by 5. How much? 5,000 more. So what will it become? 55,000. Did you get me now?
Right.
No. So some people are thinking, by extending, am I giving off? Let me tell you guys, a person may be there, may not be there, but you are
But we can
trying to
flexibility.
create a pay structure. Are you getting me? So you are trying to create a pay structure, taking into consideration your internal promotion policy as well. Are you
Average
getting me?
tenure of service and average increment given.
Yep. And 2 things you have to consider. What are they?
Average tenure of
tenure
service
and
average
increment. Done?
Yes,
I think somebody's got it very clear. Nirban has
yeah. Definitely.
Have others got it? I want a show of your thumb up or down, both ways. I don't mind. Huh? I can't see everybody's thumb here up. Virendra is saying yes, absolutely. Some more?
How long?
Anish,
what
not
would be
very
the-
clear. So he's deciding whether to show thumbs up or not. But I want to know whether you are very clear with this concept, Anish.
Yeah, it's okay. I got it.
You will get it when you do it again, Anish.
Yeah.
Because this is little, maths. It's got maths and all. That's why not many people are very good at comp and ben. It will take time. But I'm trying to simplify it and give it so that the transfer of learning becomes easier. Okay?
Correct.
But have you got it?
Yes.
Ma'am, does this need to be reviewed frequently? Say because salary increment, it might be high.
You need to review it only when there is, you want to make market corrections. But ideally, you should at least have a look at your market data. You agree? Otherwise, you will land up into something what I call it as a salary compression. That means people who have been recruited this year at a particular market rate are getting some salary. People who have been recruited 4 years ago for the same position are getting much lesser salary and who are continuing with it. So what will happen? The guy who has been recruited recently with a higher salary will keep getting higher salary for a similar job for which somebody is already doing at a less. So you have to pull that guy also, no? Doing market correction. Got it?
Correct, ma'am. But then most of the time the difficulty is we want to do that, but there isn't much of a support from the management.
No. Then what will happen? Do you know? I have gone through a lot of these consulting assignments where your top performers who have been in the system for 10 to 15 years are getting less salaries for the same job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. So the problem, what happens with the leadership team typically when it comes about, taking such decisions, they would not open up their mouth. They won't be so vocal in terms of, putting it forward and explaining to the concerned stakeholders. But when it comes about in one-to-one meeting, they will be the first one to jump in on HR and then keep saying some of the other thing that you need to do this, you need to do that. But when the time comes, they will easily and very conveniently they will back off.
No, but the most important thing is, I'm sure all of you are seeing it. When you give annual increments, okay, there are two people. There are two people doing the same job. And those people have also got a rating of 4. Got it? What? There are two production managers who are doing the same job and who've got a rating of 4. Now, what is it? Naveen as a production manager is sitting on a very less salary, which I will be talking about, called low comp ratio. That means he's sitting on a very less salary. And Anish, who has been hired recently, is sitting on a high salary, high comp ratio. Both are in the same grade. Now, when an increment comes, because you are at a 4, you will get increment. But because he's already at a higher salary, he's again reaching a higher salary. This guy is at a lower, he is not able to come up to this Anish. Are you getting that message? Yes, so it is because the company has not made any market correction, the guy who has been hired at a lower salary continues to get low. I is still trailing behind, and the guy who has been hired at a higher salary. So what happens typically if market corrections are not done? Your top performers in the system will leave. Why? Because hey, I can get 2 or 3 times more salary in the market rather than staying here. And when I can see same job, but people who have been hired now are getting high salary. So that is called equity. So you have to make market corrections so what do we do as HR heads? What we'll do at every year, we will calculate comp ratios. Then I will give less increment to Anish and I will give more increment to Naveen. But my personal experience, when Anish gets less increment, he will go and ask his BU head, see, I got 4. Why did I get less increment? Whereas for 4 people, they've got more increment. BU head will say, I don't know. I have given you 4 and it is all for the HR to do. They did something. They won't explain this. Then the HR guy has to be the what? He is the one who is at fault. So he will explain that, hey guy, we have to reduce the increment because of this reason. You getting me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you. But even in that case, there will be attrition. Anish will not stay back. Huh? Even in that case, there will be attrition because Anish will say, okay, I got despite of me giving best performance because of your internal parity issues, whatever it may be, whatever I was deserving, I did not get it. So you'll start looking.
Absolutely. That is why good organizations, because if you were to hire a similar guy like Naveen, you have to pay 2 to 3 times more. Don't forget it. Naveen is a top performer, but he's getting less salary. So he will not wait. He will just say, okay, fine. I gave my best and they're not rewarding me. I will go. Got it?
This correction has to be an ongoing process.
So that means market correct. We have to be, if the organization values you, then they will start doing the correction. If they don't value you, that is also an indicator saying that, okay, fine, they don't value me. So it's time for me to look out. Got it?
But ma'am, every year even the corrections can't be made, right? Somewhere the organization has to be a bit stable so that the internal parity.
Yeah, I would like to hear that statement. Is that Dipesh or is that Jaideep or
it was Rahul.
Rahul, tell me, Rahul. Yeah.
Say if I'm saying from an organization perspective, being an HR, I have to be in mid so that even the organization doesn't get hits of the increments which are there in the market, right? Because not each organization in the same industry having the correction in the same year. Say in my organization will have a correction in 2022 and my competitor will have a correction in 2023. But in 23, my employees will have a look in the market having the same correction happening, but we had a correction in 22. So an organization even can't have these corrections happening on a regular basis, right?
No. There are 2 things here. There were 2 things discussed, Rahul. One is market correction as a whole, right? Market correction as a whole. That means if I'm paying at 55th percentile and I've been paying the same salary and I've not made any correction. So every 1 year, 2 years, I'm looking at market data and correcting. That is one exercise altogether different, which I will talk in detail. Okay. That is one scenario, Rahul. Okay. That means you're saying, obviously, organizations will think about it and say, once in maybe 2 years and all, I will start looking at the market data and making a correction for all my grades, right? That means I'm moving my midpoint to 10 plus or 20 plus. So that's an overall exercise. But having said that, this is something else. This is when there are two people working in the same job, but the pay differential is huge. Are you getting me?
Yes, yes.
I gave an example of Naveen and Anish.
Right.
This is not market correction, Rahul. This is salary compression. No, salary compression. This is total, inequity and not being fair. That I'm also good. I'm not average. I'm also a very good performer, Naveen. Anish is also a good performer, but just because you hired him at a high rate, that means I also have to take cognizance of the fact that I'm a good performer. Have you brought me also up to somewhere? Not in 1 year or take 2 years. So typically organizations, we do this exercise every year, trying to ensure that there is internal equity by looking at comp ratios level wise, individual wise, which I will be explaining to you when I'm doing this called comp ratio. Okay. When I'll do comp ratio, when I do market data and all, and I will again emphasize on this. Okay.
Got it.
All right. But I want again somebody that we have to do a little more on that.
Okay. Okay.
Please share that. Okay. So now for this grade 3. Quick. Now you do it yourself, guys.
50, 55.
Yeah, minimum max.
50, 55.
So you can extrapolate your max. Now I want to say here a point. You can extrapolate depending on the tenure and increment. Why? Tomorrow organization is growing. You may have more positions in these grades. Got it? You are making scope. Looking at your promotion policy, you are extrapolating.
60, 75.
Today you have only 2 positions. Maybe tomorrow you'll have more 4 positions, 5 positions, etc. Now, interesting. Now, grade 4. Grade 4 starts at
60.
60
and ends at 75. Now I want to tell you also, sometimes the overlap, 60,000 here, right? So 55,000. So maybe you will want that even your grade 3 ends up to 60. You will look at that. 1 is 1. Or maybe you will start a higher grade, which will overlap with the lower grade also. Okay. Like for example, I will say your grade 2 is 40 to 50, right? I will say, okay, your grade 3 is 50 to 55, right? So because it is grade 3 and it is at a higher level, I will say I will even extend it up to 60,000, 60.
Maximum.
Just make it 60, okay?
60,000.
And your grade 4 can start at 60. This one can also be at 65, depending on the seniority and experience. So here, since we don't have many positions and in this here, so what I'm trying to say is another factor here, that in grades, there can be an overlap. What? There will be an overlap. Now your higher grade can start with the max of the lower grade, or maybe little into that. It can overlap as well. It doesn't really matter. It depends on the way you are structured. You can do that physically, iterate it. Are you very clear with me?
Okay.
I'm going to give you some scenarios and maybe it will help you all, some site examples. But here, okay, now you know how to fix min and max.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, know how to fix min and max.
Yes,
now, what is the advantage of creating grades and min and max? The advantage is now on the basis of grades, you can also then have benefits. right? Benefits, perquisites, etc. Like say, for example, grade 1, you will have certain medical insurance, etc. Grade 2, a little higher. Grade 3, a little more higher. Grade 4, a little more. So this grades will give you also a basis for giving benefits. Like for example, mobile allowance, okay? Or for example, hotel accommodation, a 3-star or a 4-star or a 5-star. So the basis for giving your benefits will be derived from your grades. Is this very clear? Very, very clear?
Right.
So from what have anybody, we have started what? First, we looked at the job grading, then we created a template, and then we classified or mapped the jobs. And then what did we do? We created a grade structure taking into consideration the benchmarked data. Benchmark data is typically called market data. Okay. Based on that, we got our min and max. But we also have to take into consideration two other things. Typically, the tenuity and the increment we give, and thereby iterate our max as to extend it so that it can take care of the stay period.
Ma'am, just a small question.
Yeah.
So when we do the minimum and max, for one single organization across the gate, tenure and increment, we need to keep it same, right?
No. You have to internally discuss and look at what is that promotion policy from
So that I agree. So whatever parameters we'll be considering for that particular financial year, that we need to keep it the same for across the grade, right?
This is something which I want to hear again. Because, tell me, not very clear for me.
So for an example, let's say now the increments are due for most of the organization for the financial year 2020 to 23. So whatever parameters we will discuss and agree in terms of tenure and the percentage of increment. So do we need to keep it same across the grade while calculating minimum and max?
No, you are talking increment and you are talking this. No? Increment is different, right? Increment,
So for an example here, we calculated minimum and max for grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So for that, there are two parameters.
Oh, yeah, I got it, Virendra. You are saying, no, I got it. You are saying, ma'am, when we are doing this, are you saying that every year we are going to give different kinds of increments, right? Right?
Yes.
But by and large, Virendra, these things don't change. I'll tell you why. Increment, okay, some amount of percentage, but by and large, on an average, you are considering things on an average. Okay?
Correct.
So these things don't change very often. Unless and until, a lot of restructuring is happening, these things don't change often. Got it? I understood your point. Every year I'm going to change the increment, ma'am, then is this? No. These things don't change generally. Okay?
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, this is very clear, guys.
One question on the grading. I mean, I know there's different approaches, say like Hayes methodology is one. So is there any standard or recommended grading methodologies which we can adapt?
No. So now this is one methodology called grading. Okay. Now we are coming to the other methodology called point method. Can you quickly, I will introduce point method, but the calculations we'll do it the next session. Okay. I'll introduce the point method. Who was that who asked this question? Okay. Are you all there?
Yes.
Yeah. So somebody said, are there different methodologies? Now there are different methodologies. Like I said, some methodologies are qualitative and some methodologies are quantitative. Now, when we talked about ranking method, that was a qualitative method. by looking at qualitatively, we said we ranked them. When we looked at job grading, was it a quantitative method or a qualitative method? Tell me, guys.
Qualitative.
Qualitative method means we looked at descriptors and we analyzed it. So what is the disadvantage for this? What challenge did you have when you were doing this?
So one has to have in-depth understanding of the concept of the jobs and related factors.
So if you realized, sometimes you are forced to put a position either under grade 1,
correct,
or either under grade 2 or grade 3. But sometimes you felt that some of the things are grade 1, some of the things are grade 2. So you had a tie between grade 1 and grade 2. Now where do I put? So that was a challenge. Then okay, fine, typical HR mentality, I will say, why give a higher grade? I'll put a lower grade. So there is sometimes, some subjectivity in doing this, right? So qualitative method definitely has some, unless and until the job description is really well detailed, okay? And the compensation committee is very, very clear about everything. So there are certain kind of, but then it gets evened out when you look at the market data, etc. Some amount. Now, today, universally, there is a method which is quantitative, which is called the point plan method, which is preferred. So why is quantitative method preferred? Because every point is repeat and it is very objective. Okay. So when I say point plan method, what does it mean? Just look at this table, guys. Don't look at anything. Just look at this position. Say, for example, I'll say direct HR. It is 866 points. Okay. Director accounting, 875 points. So what does it give you a feeling? Which is the lowest job here?
Clerk.
HR clerk was just 189 points. And highest job is a job like director accounting, which is 875 points. So by the very look of, looking at the numbers, you can easily make out, hey, higher the number, higher the points, lower the number, lower the points. Now, when we are doing a point plan method, we are assigning points and it's so objective that we do not have these challenges of whether I take all the descriptors and put them in one grade or the other grade. How does it work? Again, here in a point plan, what happens? You are starting the process by identifying compensable factors. Okay, I will show you an Excel sheet, worksheet and all that. Now, where is that? Can you say this? A typical point plan looks like this. Anybody who's familiar, who kind of understood, who has done point plan?
No.
No. So a point plan template looks like this. Okay. Step 1, you have to identify again compensable factors. What are the compensable factors here? Skill,
Education, experience, and knowledge.
effort,
responsibility,
responsibility, job conditions. So education, sub factors: education, experience, knowledge, effort, physical, mental, responsibility, equipment,
equity,
material, safety, work of others. Means you could be a supervisor, team leader, etc., etc. Working conditions, others. All right. So that is the first step. Then I have to determine how many levels or how many degrees of differentiation will I have when I do point plan. Now you may say, what is this here? What is this called? Degrees or levels? What does it mean? That means in an organization, taking from the lowest job to highest jobs, how many degrees are there, levels are there? Some jobs may require just one elementary basic education of ITI, but the highest job may require something like a post-graduation, a lot of certification, etc. So, in other words, intensity of this factor, compensable factor, education, required in your organization? So if I say if your organization is very simple, the processes are simple, will the intensity required of education across all the jobs will be less? Not so much complex, right? But if it is complex, then it will have many levels. So to further clarify, what is the degree of differentiation? For example, say knowledge is a compensable factor. Got it? Knowledge is a compensable factor. This is say in a very, what is the term? Instrument technology company. Okay. Now I am saying knowledge. So degrees or levels I have to make. So I will say 5 levels. So first level will be very basic, second a little higher, third a little higher, fourth a little higher, and fifth degree is my highest level. So at a first level of knowledge, what have I written as a descriptor? Somebody can read that?
Use of reading and writing.
Yes.
Adding and subtracting of whole numbers.
Yes.
Following of instructions. Use of fixed gauge. Direct reading of instruments and similar device where interpretation is not required.
Okay. So when you look at this description, it looks basic, simple, because it is limited to just reading, writing, adding, subtracting, or just using of certain gauges, reading instruments, etc. Somebody please read the 5th degree.
Use of higher mathematics involved in the application of engineering principles together with comprehensive knowledge of theories and practices of various engineering fields equivalent to complete 4 years of technical education or university education.
Okay. Is there a difference between 1st degree and 5th degree?
Yes. Big
so
difference.
When I say a difference, the intensity of knowledge required at a 1st degree is much basic. The intensity, I used a word called intensity. Intensity at the 5th degree is much higher. Will you agree with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree. Now, why do I need to write this is in point blank intensities or degrees? Why? When I'm evaluating jobs and I have written knowledge as one compensable factor, I will read the description, say if a job requires, whether it requires 1st degree, 2nd degree, 3rd degree, 4th degree, or 5th degree. Based on that requirement, I will then say, oh, this is 1st degree or 2nd degree. And now I will assign points for these degrees. Got it? Okay?
Yes.
Initially, it will be little, you will get it. The way I will explain it, you will get it. Okay? Say, for example, now, what am I doing? Don't look at these numbers. You won't understand anything. So, how many degrees are here?
5.
I've written
5.
1
5.
degree, 2 degree, 3rd degree, 4th degree, 5th degree. Right?
Yeah.
Now, now education, just like knowledge, education, I will say 1st degree, just maybe ITI in a manufacturing organization. 2nd degree, I will write maybe a graduation and all that. 3rd degree, I will write maybe an MBA and other things. So when I'm writing the descriptor at every degree, step 1, I have to also take into consideration all the functions the organization has, and maybe in a 2nd degree, I will have an MBA HR also. Okay, I have to take into consideration all the functions and write the degrees. That is the definition at 1st degree, 2nd degree, 3rd degree, 4th degree. Very clear? Okay. Now I'll also show you a format, but if I give too much of it in one day, you will not be able to understand. So I'll keep the point plan a little basic today. Okay. Now, once I write all the definitions for these degrees, which are called degrees of differentiation, step 3, what will I do? I will prioritize what percentages, which I have not done there. Prioritize percentages, weightage given to every factor. Because not all factors are of equal importance. So depending on the organization strategy, depending on what is required for the organization, I will then give weightage to these factors. Okay. So for example, the weightage I have given, say for example, to the entire skill. What weightage I have given to this entire skill? Can you tell me?
180, 180.
So I have given 50%. Okay? 50% to entire what? Skill. But entire skill has been again divided into education. I have given 14%. Sorry, yeah. Then knowledge I have given 14%. And I will write here. I have given experience 22%. Okay. 14%, 22%, and 14%. So the total weightage I have given to skill is 50%.
50%.
How much have I given for effort?
20%.
15%. Out of which physical demand 10%. And mental demand
5%.
5%. Like that, for responsibility I've given 20%, and equipment 5, material 5, safety 5, and for job conditions I've given 15%. So total I should have how much? If you total
100%.
it up here, the weightage should be
100%.
Yeah.
100. If you give more factors also, the weightage should be 100.
100%.
Got it? Weightage should be 100. It can't be 150 and 200. When I say weightage itself, that means prioritizing and giving weightage. So which is the highest weightage I have given to skill here? Then to responsibility, and then equal to effort and effort. Okay.
Job condition.
Yeah. Any questions here? Step 1, identify compensable factors. Step 2, depending on your organization, define the number of degrees of differentiation, that is levels. Then step 3, give weightage to your compensable factors. Have you understood all the 3 steps of point plan?
Yes.
Thumbs up, please.
Ma'am, regarding the points, so is there any highest or?
No. Who is this? Anish or who is it?
Naveen.
Naveen, tell me, Naveen.
No, regarding the points, say like where we have given 110, 14. So is there any logic to it, or is there an highest or
given
lowest?
110, 14, where?
Skill on 5th degree. So it is 110.
No. So I did not go there. Why did you go there?
Okay.
You will get confused, no? I'm showing the way. Just go by the path which. So if you say, "Arey, aa gaya aur kuch hai, dekho wahan par." Abhi I'm showing the way. Okay? All right. So what have I shown you till now? That point plan will have what? Factors, compensable factors. That you have understood?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then second point, degrees of differentiation with knowledge, as I showed you one. What is the degree of differentiation? If I say education, so I have to write definitions for all the degrees, right? Done?
Yes.
Then third point, I have to then prioritize my compensable factors, giving weightages. You have understood that?
Yes.
Done.
Yes,
now we'll come to Naveen's point. Now we are doing what? We are trying to do a point plan. So how do you create a point plan? Now there are here 5 degrees. So how will I create? I have to populate. So I have to multiply 14 into the first degree will be what?
1.
14. 14 into 2?
28. Yeah. Okay.
14 into 3?
42.
14 into 4 and 14 into 5. Got it?
Fine.
Now 22 into, now are you very clear how you have
Yes,
got this
ma'am.
point plan?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Naveen,
Yes, now it is clear.
and now it is clear? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. 100%.
Before I leave, I'll tell you one more interesting thing, and then I will close it so that you don't have. Now, this is a 500 point plan. Okay.
Yeah, 500.
So
Yeah.
please add, first degree will be 100. Just quickly
Yeah.
add anybody. Second degree will be 100. I will write here. Wait. 1 second. This will be 200.
200. Yeah.
This will be
300, 400, 500.
This will be
400.
400. This will be
500.
500.
So what is the total point plan of this exercise? This is 500 point plan. What is it? It's a 500 point plan. So now skill, effort, responsibility, job conditions in this point plan, we have given points to all the degrees, right? All the degrees means first, this is called linear point plan. I may say for working conditions and hazard. Okay, I'll put that together. I will say that I don't want 5 degrees. I only want to assign 3 degrees. What? What did I say? Only 3 degrees.
3 degrees.
How will you do? Are there any mathematicians here? Any mathematicians? No. So typically when we work on a case study, we'll do this. But I want to teach you that also. So what typically we will do then is 500 total points. First, we will actually come out with 50% of 500 is how much? Quick. I want calculator.
250.
How much?
250.
Okay. Shall I put it here?
Yes, ma'am.
250. Got it? 250 is your total points for skill, education, experience, knowledge. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you want 5 degrees. So what will I do? Sorry. You want 5 degrees. Divided by
5.
5.
Where we are. Divided by 5. Quick. How much?
50.
How much?
50.
50. So 1 degree is equal to 50 points. Have you added? See, add. First degree will be 20 plus 30, 14. If you add 14, 22, 14 will be 50. Is it 50?
Yes, it is 50.
And 50 into 2, you will get it as 100 here.
100.
50 into 3, you will get it as, I think, 150. 50 into 4, you will get it as 200. Now, have you understood? So, what I will do first, I'll find out how many points. Now, I will give you one. Now, you don't want 5 degrees. You only want 3 degrees. So, 15% of 500 is how much? Quick. Calculator कौन है यहाँ पर?
75.
How much?
75.
75, correct?
Yes.
I'm not calculating, so I'm going by what you said. 75?
Yeah, by 3.
So divided by
3.
3. How much?
25.
Equal to
25.
So now, because I want only 3 degrees, so 25, 50, 75.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody will tell you this, mind you. You will not find in many books at all. All right. So you have actually got how to, now you can actually become a consultant and start doing a lot of work for others also. All right. Okay. So guys, I think Point plan you have learned where step 1, step 2, step 3, how to create a point plan. Because now next session, you will do the regression analysis. All right. So quick, I will take only 2 more minutes. What is the takeaway today's session? Quick wrap up. What was the takeaway session? Takeaway points. I want everybody to tell me one, at least 3-4 people to share. Quick. What did you learn today?
Job analysis first thing.
Okay, then?
Job grading.
Okay, in
Job
grading,
evaluation.
tell me 1 or 2 things which you will do, which are critical.
Compensable factor.
Right, and descriptors, and then
And
mapping the
descriptors,
position.
mapping the
In
position.
point plan, we just based on how to create a point plan again, right? And what is the critical thing learned here? Different from the job grading is? What is different
It is
in point
it is
plan?
quantifiable.
No, quantifiable, but you created degrees of differentiation, right? You are assigning points, you're creating weightages, which you did not do in job grading. So that's the differentiation. All right.